What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blerdkast Live, and happy belated Father's Day to all of the fathers out there who are celebrating. And tonight we have we have such an amazing show planned. We have Fathers in Nerdy Spaces, and tonight I am joined by four of some of the amazing fathers we have here on planet Earth right now. Let's go ahead and introduce our special guest this week. Let's go ahead and go to my right. Let's go to my right. That's you, Myra.
See, you. I knew that was going to happen. You was pointing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's inverted. It's inverted. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all good. I was like, when you didn't say a name, I'm like, damn it, he's talking about me, even though he's pointing away from me. All right, what are we doing? Am I introducing myself? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, introduce yourself. Go ahead.
All right, what's up, everybody? Myron here, your favorite Smoove Cosplaya, your favorite salsa dancing cosplayer, dad of about 9 years now, but also twice over. Got a 9-year-old daughter, 6-year-old son. Happy father, happy husband, happy geek. IT specialist during the day, voice actor / dance instructor at night, all of that stuff.
Perfect. Welcome back. Next.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. But next, new guest to the show, Dr. David Washington. Why don't you go ahead and tell everyone about you?
Thank you, Mark. So let's see, Dr. David Washington. I am the author of the graphic novel Black Defender of the Awakening. Again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, to all the husbands, to all the brothers that keep holding it down on a daily basis and show up. Let's see, background in my professional career, I'm a consultant, trainer, and attorney. And in this space, an author of a book, Black Defender of the Awakening, my first graphic novel, which very happy to say is now being adapted to the animated film that will be released in Atlanta next year.
Okay.
So all is going well. Literally, we got back from a book signing tour in New Orleans, and I'm happy to be here tonight.
Awesome. Welcome to have you. I have a funny story about how you came about to be on the show tonight, but we'll get there. Let's go ahead and introduce, I don't know, how can I say this? A new father for the fourth time, but this time it's a little bit different. Let's go ahead and welcome Husky Hokage.
I appreciate it, Mark. Yes, I'm Husky Hokage. As Mark is referring to, I have 4 kids now. 3 boys, and we just had our baby girl. So, yeah, first time girl dad here. But yeah, I am a streamer, content creator, gaming discussionist, as I like to say. I don't really like to say yapper because sometimes you yap and don't know what you're talking about. And I think I know what I'm talking about for the most part. So I say gaming discussionist. I am a create content centered around gaming. We talk about gaming, try to create a positive space for gamers of, primarily for, it started initially as for Black gamers, and then it branches out to everyone or whatever the case may be, to make sure we have a positive space where we can talk, where we can discuss, we can have discourse respectfully, things like that. But yeah.
Perfect. Welcome back to the show. And I know you haven't gotten any of this, but we're going to get there. Last but not least, S.Ceezy. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? As you guys know, I'm S.Ceezy. Usually during the day, I'm a father full-time now. Recently got off the job working on a actual VA to get my disability on that due to service-related injuries, but we're not going to get too much into that. The fun part is now a full-time dad, content creator, cosplayer, and social media personality influencer guy.
Perfect. I saw you had a blast at MomoCon. Sorry we missed each other, but we're going to get there. We're going to talk about that. But everybody, welcome to the show. First thing I got to ask, how was everyone's Father's Day?
Who's that?
It was good.
Who's that?
That's good. All that.
About as good as it could be with a new baby. So,
Ooh,
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's it. That's true.
How old now?
Huh?
So, how old now?
Oh, so like literally, she is 2 weeks today.
Ooh.
I have a 2-week-old, 11-year-old, a soon to be 9-year-old, and a soon to be 5-year-old. So yeah,
Wow.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Man.
thank
Yes,
you.
How's
congratulations.
the split coming?
Get your sleep, sir. Get your sleep,
He
man.
ain't gonna
How?
get down with that newborn.
Yeah.
How?
I don't miss those days.
Yeah.
Now, are the older brothers like stepping up and helping out?
They do what they can. They still my oldest, he does a pretty good job as far as kind of coming in and helping. My middle my youngest son, he just be everywhere. He's 4, he's going on 5, like he just be everywhere. And then the other one, he's like he'll come look at her and hold her, but that's really about it. Like if I need him to do something, he'll show up. But like, yeah, he'll come look at her and like, okay, I'm about to go back to my room now. So
Got you. Now, we all were sitting here kind of joking about Father's Day. All y'all said your Father's Days were kind of meh. While preparing for this episode, I happened to see on social media yet again one of the trends of this year's Father's Day is the disparity between Father's Day and Mother's Day. So, as fathers, because I'm sure all y'all have wives and mothers who got treated out to dinner and got gifts and roses and flowers and X, Y, and Z, and if you didn't do it, you'll never hear the end of it. But when it comes to you all, when it comes to Father's Day, you get a cake, you might get a tie, you might get a day off. But does that disparity, does the fact that in this country, we as a society neglect fathers who are there on their day, does that bother any of you, or is it kind of like a trade-off thing?
If I could say anything, I'd say being a dad, because I have 2 kids, same mother. I'm actually married to her. Been married now for about almost 14 years. Been married, and both of my girls are autistic. Being a father is one of those thankless jobs. It's like you don't look for the hey, good job, you're doing an amazing job, Dad, but it's like you're expected to do what you're supposed to do for your kids. So it's one of those, I guess it's a trade-off. Like, as long as you know you're doing a good job as a man and as a father, then that should be enough. At least it is for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I've been married almost the same amount of time, coming up on 12 years in September, 2 kids. I want to say all 4 of us are probably some level of undiagnosed neurospicy, as my wife says it, but high functioning. But yeah, like my wife always appreciates me, and as I do her. Like we do the same thing for each other on Mother's Day, Father's Day, and on birthdays. We'll ask the other person, "Hey, how do you want to celebrate Mother's Day? How do you want to celebrate your birthday? How do you want to celebrate Father's Day? How do you want to celebrate your birthday?" And we all pretty much say the same thing. Like, you got the kids today, so we both get about at least 2 days out the year where it's like, hey, you got them all day, I'm responsibility free, and that's how we do it. And so yeah, we do it for each other. For those of y'all in the crowd who might be like, what do you do for her? Yes, we do it for each other. If I stay off the internet, which I've learned to do, I have a good Father's Day. Like, nothing bothers me. But if you take a peek at the internet, you'll see all the craziness. And some people, they got a right to. You might have a mother or a father who's had a hard time with their parent relationship. Like, you're entitled to that. You handle it how you handle it, but you also get the don't forget the mothers on don't forget the single mothers on Father's Day. And I'm like,
you have a day for that.
Right. Like, go shout out to all single parents, single mothers, single fathers, single whoever. Y'all deserve all the credit in the world. Also, that's your day. This is ours. Like, we already don't get enough credit. Those of us who do what we're supposed to do. Yes, we're supposed to do it. Also, you should be grateful for the people. Like, Try saying that for a mother. Try saying, "Oh, well, you're supposed to do that." That ain't gonna fly, is it? Right. So, and it's not saying, we're not asking for a prize. No, you're not asking for a cookie. You're not asking for a prize. You're just saying, "Hey, just thank you, thank you." Those are really easy words to say, but yet some people feel like me saying thank you just now. I didn't feel any pain. I didn't feel any like convulsions. I didn't, nothing happened when I said thank you just now. It's an easy word to say. So like, why not say it? But yeah, like if you're a single mom, if you're a single dad, go extra hard for that weekend. Make a whole week out of it, but don't try to take over the other day.
But for my Father's Day, I say it went really well because actually I was traveling on the road for work and I came back home and my kids had surprised me. Like I'm walking through the door and there's this big package waiting on me there, all gift wrapped. Now my boys were home, so I've been married for 28 years. I have 3 children, and I gotta tell you, and also one of those children, our girl, is a girl, and as a girl dad, you really, pay more attention. You have your little girl, as you're going through it with your new girl or your new child, you're gonna have a level of attention to her that you don't have to the boys. You're gonna let those boys play with fire. That girl, you won't let her do anything. But no, when I came in with mine, it was nice because when I came through the front door after being on the road and working and literally getting in this morning and seeing that everything was already set up. My boys reached out to me early. So I had my girl with me on the trip and my wife with me. So they were there with me as well. So my boys reached back and they're like, "Hey, Dad, happy Father's Day. Thank you for everything you do." I can't complain with that one. So for me, that was really well to highlight of the day because I was able to see them and they were able to engage with them.
So. I will say, just like I kind of did what everybody else has said so far about just Father's Day, and as my wife, we'll be married 10 years in July, on July 7th, and I have to say my wife we appreciate each other, so she makes sure I feel appreciated, whether it's my birthday, whether it's Father's Day, or whether it's just whenever. And I try and I do my best to make sure I do the same thing for her. And I do, like Smoove just said about staying off the internet. You do have to stay off the internet because it'll lead you to believe that men don't like women, women don't like men, and all the other stuff that in between. So
yeah,
and that's why I tell people, like, you can't believe what it go by with something. Now, granted, you're gonna have your outliers where you have some people like kind of bring it. Well, I'm gonna tell my mama Happy Father's Day because she was the one. Listen, you're gonna have those people, and I've learned a long time ago. You don't go back and forth with people on, especially people like that in conversations like that. Long as you're getting appreciation from the person you're with. I've been a dad for going on like 11 years now, and as long as you get appreciation from the person that you're with, I've learned that's all that matters. So, and I'm thankful I have a wife that makes sure I feel appreciated, and my kids as well. My oldest, my kids are huggers, so they're gonna when I come home, whatever. If I could be sitting here playing a game, they'll come over and they'll just hug me because that's how they are. So, but my kids, they'll say when it's my birthday, when it's Father's Day, whatever, "Thank you, Dad," or "Dad, we love you," stuff like that. So, and I always feel appreciated and feel loved because of my boys. And like I say, I'm a hugger, so I do the same thing for them. Like I'll just, we'll be playing and I'll mess around and just grab them, give them a bear hug, stuff like that. So my kids do it honestly, and they get it honest. So, but yeah, I definitely, I hate that not everybody gets that same attention because I think Ali Sadiq, I love Ali Sadiq. He mentioned one of his stand-ups, he was talking about how Father's Day is like the least, or like one of the worst holidays because we get neglected or we don't get the appreciation that we need as fathers. I think he was like the most celebrated. I think it's number 20 on the list of the most celebrated holidays. Father's Day was like number 20. I think Mother's Day was like number 6, something else. So or number 2, it was like Christmas and then Mother's Day. But Father's Day was always down at the bottom. He was like, how we get neglected. But like I said, for those that don't get it, I kind of feel for them. But for those that do get it, you get that appreciation. And like I said, some of us can deal, go along with just a thank you, like Smoove said, just a thank you. Like we will understand that this is our job, but a thank you goes a long way.
Perfect. So I apologize everybody for the audio issues we're having during the show. I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep everybody muted except the person speaking, and I will just call everybody out to speak, and the guy in the chair will unmute you, and we'll just go from there. So that way we try to have better audio clarity. But for the audience watching, I do apologize for that. But I'd like to start off with my next question. Again, everybody had very valid points to say, but it was a little bit hard to hear some of y'all answers. But my next question, I'm going to start with Dr. David Washington, since he is the newbie to the show. Raising the next generation of nerds, is that something that you actively think about as a parent? Do you actively try to make your children nerdy, or do you let them develop on their own and see if they adapt to nerd culture like how we all are?
Well, that my kids actually were what brought me into this environment. This was not my environment initially. The reason why I even got into this, and this again, this is a father's love, right? My children loved comics, right? They love comics. And the problem that I kind of started coming across was that there was a negative impact that was coming about because they were not seeing themselves represented as well within these spaces. To the point that with one of my youngest, he was inconsolable one time when I came home from work. And like, I'm talking with the missus, I'm like, what's going on with the boy? And she was like, hey, he is having a moment here. And he had a TV show that he watched fanatically. But he was like, I can't be that main character because that main character is white. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. See, this is where like a lot of things hit me all at once. My academic training hit me at once. My fatherhood position hit me at once. I'm not gonna let this happen. My kid hit me all at once. So I'm like, the Clark experiment, if you've never heard of it, it was kind of new to you. This was the experiment about the white doll. Which is the better doll, the black doll or the white doll? And it goes to the idea about what you see in me and what you see in your environment, and how the dangers of segregation affect a child's psychology. This is happening in my house in real time. And I'm like, oh no. We're gonna grab this. Yeah, we're gonna grab this. So literally, for my kids, it brought me into it because I didn't want them to feel like they couldn't see themselves. And in fact, with my son, of course, you give him the speech as that, hey, you can do anything you want, everything is possible, everything else of that nature. But when you for real look up, where is his representation? Like, where are the people that look like him? Again, y'all are well versed in this. You're even more well versed than me, and thank you for letting me be on the show to just talk with y'all about it. But as you saw with DC in the last 1,600 days, not a main character of color, black character in the canon, right? And so when I got in this, my kids brought me into this because of the fact that the representation wasn't there. And as a father, I said, that was literally my call to action. I'm like, oh, I got this. So I said, I have a deep action lexicon. I know how those go. I literally went to Ollie's, bought a bunch of comic books off the shelf and started reading them on a weekend. I'm like, I'm gonna get this done. So I'm in here reading through them, going through everything else, pull some scripts offline, started getting after that. I'm like, oh, we gotta get that too. And just like I would be if I was writing a legal brief or a dissertation or a research paper, I just leaned into it really hard. And that's what brought it forward for me. And now, 2 years later, being able to see the manifestation of what that work looks like and the effect it is having. Like, one of the great things I'm getting to see, not only did it was something that was good for my children to be able to see them in themselves in the narrative, but other kids this weekend, seeing some of the young people that were excited and came up to the tables and came up for their autograph, and how excited they were to see that, hey, the black character in this story is not a sidekick, is not an offshoot, he's the main character of the story, and everyone that's in this story looks like them, from the people who assist to people who aid to everything. So they actually brought me into this. My kids brought me into this, and so I stayed in because I'm like, hey, it's not only that my kids need this representation, but other children need this representation as well. And I've been very pleased to see that outcome. So that's where, again, as a father, there's this thing in you that you don't want to see your child hurt. You don't want to see your child unprotected. You don't want to see them in a position like that. And for me as a father, I said, oh, I can make that happen. This is that thankless part of me. And a father will lean into something because he knows that that's what his children or his family needs, and he'll just suck it up and get into it. And that's legitimately what I did. I was like, because again, I didn't read comics growing up. I wasn't a part of the culture. And so I had to get up on it to be able to get into space with it. But that's the sacrifice we make as fathers.
Interesting. That's very interesting, and kudos to you for taking up the nerdy charge like that, buying like a bunch of comics in one weekend and just trying to catch up. You got a lot to catch up on, but I hope you enjoy this journey you are on. You and your kids are going to enjoy just being nerdy. Smoove Cosplaya, I want to ask you the same question. I'm going to ask everybody the same question, but I want to go with you, Smoove, because you and your kids go to cons together in cosplay, and y'all just look like a happy, adorable family. So I definitely want to ask you this very same question.
I forgot what exactly was the question again.
The question is raising the next generation of nerds, especially Black nerds, and is it something that you did intentionally, like you had the foresight, I'm finna have kids, I'm going to imprint nerd stuff on them and we just finna go? Or was it like Dr. Washington just said, it was something that just kind of happened by circumstance?
It was a mix of both. Definitely, wanted to make sure I exposed them to, it was more of a exposing them to things as opposed to forcing it on them. So I wanted to, of course they're gonna see all my nerdy shit, right? They got the Transformers and the I'm not going to show it because every time I turn my camera towards it, my camera shuts off, old computer. But yeah, got a couple of Transformer shows, of course, got the comics over there, got the buckets over there. So they're going to get exposed to everything, but I also want to give them the space to find their own way. So there's certain things they've taken to. They both love X-Men like me. They love Transformers, the originals. I haven't shown them anything Michael Bay yet. I'm just waiting to see the reaction once they see how they look, because especially my daughter, she is gonna like her. That's gonna happen when she sees how the Bayverse looks. Now, certain things they didn't take to, nothing they hated, but just things they just didn't quite take to. Like they didn't really get into the G.I. Joe like I wanted. They didn't get into. I tried to expose them to my first anime, Robotech. Tried to, keep them away from the Bayverse. I tried to expose them to Jim because I figured, hey, that's a little more. I'm trying not to say girl-centric and boy-centric. We're trying to get away from that. But I suppose them both to it. They both liked it, but they both weren't like, hey, I really want to watch this. It was like, we can take it or leave it. They both loved Sailor Moon to the point where even my son, he has a Chibi Usa keychain. They both loved Avatar. We Last Airbender. Let me be specific about that. We use that to teach them about like we dig into all the lessons with it, like civil rights, genocide, all that kind of stuff, propaganda, all of that. So yeah, I expose them to everything, but we let them have choose their own path with everything. My son is a little more nerdy than geeky. Like we use the terms interchangeably. I still use them interchangeably, even though I think there's a difference. I'm not gonna it's not a hill I'm gonna die on. I'm not gonna correct somebody and say, no, that's geeky, not nerdy. But I like to think nerdy is a little bit more studious. My son a calculator. He considers a calculator a toy. He loves all things space. He would love this background right now if he saw it. He can name all the dwarf planets. I only know one dwarf planet, Pluto. He can name the other 3. He knows about exoplanets, like the planets that are outside the Milky Way. Like all of that. Like he loves geography. He loves he'll sit there and draw a state and then draw the county lines in a state and then color them all. It looks like a freaking stained glass window of Georgia sitting there. Like, so yeah, he loves all the like nerdy shit. So I'm just like, you know what? If you find joy in that, run with it. I will be behind you and support that. So do I get a little disappointed that they don't fall into everything I like? Maybe a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. I want them to, I want them to like my stuff, but I want them to find their own stuff too. So I'm just show it to them. If you like it, you like it. If not, go do your own thing, and I'm gonna support it.
Awesome, awesome. Husky, I know I joked with you on Facebook earlier, but what is Baby Girl's gamer tag? Because I already know you have it set up for her. But again, same question that I've asked everybody. Are you intentionally trying to make your boys and your daughter into gamers, or is it just something you hope that happens?
Sorry about that. So I'm not intentionally trying. Well, it's like was it about osmosis? What they say about osmosis? Because like if you can't see my background, but like literally I have a shelf behind me, and all you see is Transformers. I'm a Beast Wars guy, but Transformers,
There you go.
Power Rangers, stuff like that. Like I'm a complete junkie, and of course gaming is up there as well. Now my kids, they love comics. My oldest son was, I forgot exactly how, I can't remember exactly his age. It slips my mind right now. But when Black Panther first came out, and it was on Netflix when it first came out, when it first got to Netflix, he watched it every single day for like a year, just about. Like, he loved Black Panther. He went as Black Panther for like Halloween for like almost 4 years in a row. And just so growing up, comics was one of my first things I got into. Anime is another one. Like all of them, comics, anime, and gaming all clicked for me around the same time. And seeing my kids get into some of the stuff or enjoy some of the things that I grew up enjoying, the fact that they have actual representation, a little bit more representation now in the comics, as far as like for people like they look like us. Like he likes it. His was Black Panther. My middle son, my youngest son love Spider-Man, specifically Miles, of course, but they enjoy all of them, but they love Miles Morales Spider-Man. Like, and my youngest one, which is a little crazy, he's more like my oldest ones. They'll play their game. I'll be trying to get them to play other games outside of Fortnite and 2K and stuff like that, because granted, I used to do that, but I don't play just those type of games. I play everything, and I try to get them to just expand. They focus on that. They play Fortnite, they play 2K, they play rest. They do those. They like their sports games right now, which is fine. And I figure I got more time but as they get a little older, and it's like they're gonna be intrigued to want to play some of the stuff they see me play, because, like you said, they don't see me just play one type of game. They see me play a little bit of everything. So I'm hoping that they'll want to play more. They'll like my middle one. He'll come in, which is one of my middle ones now because I got 4. But he'll come in and he'll sit and watch me play. Like if I'm playing Black Myth, Wukong, or if I'm playing something, like he'll come in and kind of just sit and see what I'm playing and just kind of look to see what's going on or what I'm. And I love that. My youngest son, it's so funny because he'll watch some of the other stuff. Like I said, they some of just my nerdum stuff, like Turtles. Love Teenage Mutant Turtles. Like my sons now, especially my middle one and my 2 middle ones, they love Turtles. They love the Turtles. They'll watch it. And I love how my youngest one now is, he'll kind of just stumble upon stuff organically. Like he'll find it himself. Like he'll be on Netflix and just flicking through the thing, just, ooh, what's this? And he'll watch it. He'll check that out. So the only thing I regret, or not regret, the only thing I haven't got them to stick yet is anime. I'm still working on trying to get them hooked on some anime. I tried Naruto, tried My Hero. Can't get them to absorb. Now my oldest 2. Now my youngest one, I think I may be able to get him to pick it up before those other ones, especially if I can get him to sit down and watch My Hero with me. But yeah, I like I said, I didn't necessarily start out like that. I just wanted my kids to be as we're all black fathers, and I'm not sure if everybody have boys, but I just want my kids, especially my sons, to be good people, kind,
Yeah.
and and just be smart enough and be kind and be intelligent, and not be out here to be, I hate to say, a nuisance or a problem. Like, I didn't want them to be just that. I've seen that myself. I grew up around people like that, so my goal was just to make sure they were kind and good people, and whatever you want to say. I don't really like saying productive member of society, because that it's something that really bothers me with that. But just as long as they were kind and they were good people and they took care of each other, that's my main thing for them. But and anything else that gets sprinkled in and added on, the good stuff, like some of my stuff, because I tell them all the time, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me. My goal is for you to be greater than I. I always end them whenever I'm leaving them or whatever, I'm dropping them off, and I've been doing this since they have been here. Whenever I drop them off at school or leave them where they leave to go to school, my last word is be great. I always tell them to be great, because I always want them to be better than me and to do more than I did. Like, don't just look. You can use me. You can set me as your base or whatever, but then you need to go up from here, because like it's just something as a father, seeing them do stuff, and that's why I try my best to always be present and I always give them the extra. Like I said, I'm hard, especially like with the boys. I ain't gonna say I'm mean. I'll say I'm mean, but I'm hard. But at the same time, I'm not too hard to where I don't hug them, I don't kiss them. Like, I kiss my kids. I kiss them on the cheek, kiss them on the head. I do all of that, because I feel like as raising boys, you also need to show them, your emotions, show them that you can be, maybe not soft, but be, gentle, and show them that you can, do all of that. So, but yeah, I try to give them the nerd stuff too. They'll absorb some of it, and some stuff it rolls off. But like I said, we're still working on the anime. But yeah, and as far as the gamer tag for her, we're still, I'm waiting. We go wait. We go kind of because we changed the theme up. So just real quick. So before I was the Husky Hokage, my main thing, I was the bearded panda. So all my kids were something panda. And since I've changed mine, I let the kids kind of change theirs, and they have their own, kind of do their own now. Everything like their kingness. My oldest is King Boogie, which is his nickname, King Dude, and then my other one, like, so all my kids got different nicknames, but they changed that, so that's what their gamer tags are now. And it's so funny to see, like, I want can we do this? Can I change mine? Because like I said, for the longest he was Boogie Panda, and now he wanted to be King Boogie. I was like, okay, that's what you want, man. And then as soon as he did it, my middle one was like, can I change mine too? Sure, whatever you want, man. So it was funny seeing them kind of organically want to change or get their own names or what have you. But yeah.
Perfect. S.Ceezy, you want to go ahead and answer that question, then we can move on to the next one.
Sure, by all means. Basically, what goes on in my house is, since I have two girls, I don't really have I'm a girl dad, so trying to, I guess, in place more boy stuff rather than girl stuff. I pretty much just let them do what feels right to them. In retrospect of my oldest, she's really into horror themed stuff. So whether it's Poppy's Playtime, Bendy and the Ink Machine, like, as soon as she saw Bendy, she fell in love with it. Recently, she's really gotten into Five Nights at Freddy's with me, which is pretty much one of the main reasons why I do this as much as I do now. And she is definitely a horror fan, because when I was coming up, I was a big into horror when I was coming up. Jason, Friday the 13th, different things like that. But as I got older, I wound up meeting my wife in high school, and she wasn't into any of the scary stuff at all. So once we wound up having children, I moved more toward kid-friendly options, stuff that wasn't as scary. So hence why once Five Nights at Freddy's dropped, I was hooked on that from the beginning. And it didn't take all of 2 seconds for my oldest daughter to watch a Markiplier video, and she was on the bandwagon. So my youngest is pretty much, she's all over with whatever she likes. So it's like, as soon as she sees her big sisters into it, she's like, "Ooh, I want to do it too." But organically, for both of them, I don't force any of it on them. It's around them. They see it. I wear my nerd on the outside, and I wear it proudly. There's literally an arcade system sitting in, like, an arcade cabinet that has Pac-Man and all the old games sitting in my living room, and they can play that whenever they please. So right next to that is where I have all of my setups for my cosplays and stuff. So they literally have access to that. They can touch it. They can be like, "Ooh, I want to wear this helmet today." I was like, "What are you going to be today?" "I'm going to be a Power Ranger." And if I say Power Rangers, they automatically go to Mighty Morphin, because that was the first Power Rangers they saw. Like, they literally came in, I think it was a Saturday morning. My oldest was 9 and my youngest was 4. They saw me watching an episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and they both just sat down and watched. Completely quiet. I didn't tell them, "Hey, come here." They just came into the room and sat down. I'm like, "Hey." They're like, "Hey, what's this?" I'm like, "This is Power Rangers." And since then, they've been hooked on Mighty Morphin. So they don't know any other. They know of other Power Rangers, but they immediately recognize Mighty Morphin off the rip. So, which is what we have in the plans right now, since my oldest is into horror themed stuff and I'm trying to be more kid friendly with my cosplays. The goal, and Husky Hokage might know this game, we're going to be doing Big Daddy and Little Sisters from BioShock.
Ooh, that's nice.
So
That's nice.
So that is the goal family cosplay that I'm pretty much working on right now. So just imagine, if you haven't seen me in cosplay before, I am 6'4". If I'm wearing my animatronic suit, that thing is like easily 7 feet tall.
Ooh.
Ears and just the head, it's like 7 feet tall. So just imagine the Big Daddy from BioShock, the fat one, the one with the big dome and the drill on the hand. Imagine that walking, stomping around MomoCon, DragonCon, and you see these little girls wearing these tattered blue dresses with a giant syringe in their hand saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." That's literally how it's going to be. Yeah.
That is gonna look so dope.
Yes.
Because like your cosplay, is, oh my god, your cosplay is insane. We're gonna get into that though. Quick question for anybody who want to answer, because I know everybody kind of has their stuff. But how do you keep your kids out of your stuff, your collectibles, your comics, your toys, your autographs, your cosplay, whatever it may be, your camera gear, whatever? How do you keep them out of it, or is it just like whatever? If they're into it, they're into it. Just go for it.
Fortunately, I have a wife suggested and wife sponsored man cave. She, until before we're renting a house right now, and we were in apartments before, so the geeky shit had to be in the common areas. So she just kind of put up with it for that time. She's always been very supportive of the hobbies. Don't get me wrong. She's like, she loves that I have the Transformers, the comics, the games, and everything. But she was like, I want it out of the common areas. So as soon as we got the space for her, she's like, "This is your space. You can have this." I'm like, right. But yeah, so I just keep everything down there. And even with that, like, there's some stuff that's still, like, there's some Blu-rays and DVDs that are upstairs. One, they're back in the corner, so in case other of their friends come over, they can't get to them, but they know they don't touch daddy stuff. So and they know to tell their friends, "No, don't touch that." The Transformers are in a glass case. Actually, not even for my kids. My kids have never bothered me about it. It's other people, because I know from in my bachelor days, me and my roommates always had the same circles of friends. I used to have the collection was a lot smaller back then. I used to keep everything out in the living room. They'd be sitting on the shelf. They'd be sitting on the speaker, on something else or whatever. My roommates was cool about it, but our friends, sometimes they would come over, and sometimes they come over and I wouldn't be there. Yeah, and I come home, And I'm not meticulous about a lot of things, but I'm meticulous about my Transformers. My Transformers and my games, because my games need to be in the exact case and in the case at all times. If it ain't in the case, it's in the console, vice versa. And they're going to be in the right case. You're not going to see 2K in the Final Fantasy case. It's not going to happen. Anyway, I would come home and I would see this figure is halfway transformed because somebody tried to transform it, and they would give up. This other figure over here that only stands up if you pose it the right way is now laying down because somebody messed with it. And I was like, nah, y'all lost your privileges.
That will irk me so much.
Yeah, it did. So from that point on, they always stayed in my bedroom. But then once I got married, my wife was like, hey, I'm cool with the collection. It just needs to be nice and neat. I'm like, you ain't got to tell me nothing. So we got 2 glass cases with the door on it. So that way, usually that deters people. Maybe once or twice I've had somebody's kid try to get in, but of course that's enough time for me to stop them because it's not easy to get into it. You kind of have to reach the top of it and pull, like there's like a little hook there. You got to pull to open it there. But yeah, the kids are fine. The kids know they know not to touch daddy's stuff. They know not to touch daddy's food on his plate, all of that. Oh yeah, I said them straight early with that one. I was like, nah, y'all ate already. I usually sit them down to eat, and then I eat so I can have some peace. Then like, well, daddy can have nope. Y'all ate already. Daddy ain't ate yet. Stay off my plate.
Okay. Anybody else want to answer that?
Well, for me, my kids are older now, so I don't have to worry about it as much. It's not, and again, I don't have that much stuff going into it, so it's actually been me looking more into their stuff to try to figure out, learn more about what's going on and get everything in place. So, but most of the time, it's been this issue of most of my stuff is already in my own space, in my own area. In fact, the comics that I collected for the researching of this process to get everything going has stayed in its own place. But with them being older now, my oldest is 19. The next one's 16. I have a set of twins in there, so everybody can understand instructions with little to no issue. Like, hey, don't do that, and everybody's good to go on that one. So the real problem is me being in their stuff to figure out more about what the culture is going on and what's how to pull things forward. So it's actually been on my side dipping into their stuff to figure out what's going on.
Now, I'm sure you gotten a couple of phone calls like that. I know you got my comic. I know you got my game. I need that back ASAP.
Oh yeah, well everybody's in the house, so it's easy. So I look through and like, okay, everything's good. Because like my oldest son, he has a like a collection of, and you can tell like this is his thing. Like this is the shrine of comics. So it's like lined up. Everything is it's actually in this elevated kind of like envelope holder. And so I can look and pull through his stuff, but I'm very mindful. Like that's kind of like the thing he really cares about. So I'm like, yeah, don't mess with that. Don't mess it up. That's his thing. So just go through, look through, like, hey, is this? And then look at that and go forward from there. But most of the time, yeah, that's pretty much it. Because like with them, they have most of the stuff in their room and they have most of the stuff in their environment. And now they've moved over into the gaming part so much that they're sitting at their consoles all the time, playing the games and everything else like that. So it's just an issue about everybody's in the house. So nothing goes missing. Nothing goes missing.
Okay. Since you are the newbie to nerddom as a whole, I am curious to know what are you personally gravitating towards in all of nerddom? Like what fandoms or IPs are you just like, okay, I'm just hooked on this because I got to see this through, and you fanboy about it?
There's one, like there's a couple characters that stand out really well for me. One of them, particular favorite, Mr. Terrific, doesn't get enough love. So like the reason why I like Mr. Terrific is I really can identify with a lot of his background. I can really identify with him as a character, right? And so that was one thing for me. And one of the things I hated is, unfortunately, he just doesn't have a very long run. There's not a lot of material coming forward for him as a character. So for that was one of the big ones. For me, I had to do a lot of reading around. So I kind of started reading just like different things, read Invincible, went through, the Watchmen, different ones, just trying to get that feel for the style of engagement. But the one that really kind of stood out to me was Mr. Terrific, because as a character, again, I can identify with a lot of things that he brings to the table. Again, like with me, not 17 PhDs, but PhDs, law degrees, MBA, MSA. I got all those, right? Those are things. I have 5 graduate degrees, 4 graduate degrees, and a license, and I'm licensed to practice law in several states. So with that being said, or jurisdictions, with that being said, I instantly got martial arts background, clicked it. The other part was like my military background that also kind of aligned, even though Mr. Terrific doesn't have that, but again, all that just kind of like lined up for me. So as a character, I was like, oh, that's my dude. That's my guy right there. That's my guy right there. I like Black Panther. The thing with Black Panther is that it's kind of pulled out of the reality of the world, because Wakanda is set up as this fictitious African nation, but it doesn't give an idea about like what that looks like if you had to walk that out in real time here in the world. And that's why I kind of gravitate more with Terrific, because the idea behind Terrific is somewhat working within a real world. And it's the kind of reason with Black Defender why that works for me as a writer, because when you read Black Defender, a lot of it is gravitated within the real world and within the real environment, and that these things are true. And so that kind of influenced me in the writing process. It influenced me in my reading process, because I found that those I gravitate more toward those that are kind of close to the continuity of real life, because I think, and this is really important, comics narratives, the ability of imagination can help to spark better dialogues in the real world if done correctly. So like, and again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the shoulder too hard, but one of the things that I have gotten a constant commentary about is that the way I explain some of the social concepts, such as like privilege and human
Sorry about that. Wound up messing up.
No worries. Human trafficking, or the process of what it looks like to be Black in America, or what it looks like to be successful Black in America, and what that looks like in real time. The number one commentary I've gotten from a lot of people inside of our race and outside of our race is, I never thought about it this way. One of the nicest ones that I got a call one time from a white gentleman that had read the book, and he said, as a white man, I have been walking around here, and for as long as I've been on, I never really understood the concept of privilege. But after I read your graphic novel, it completely made sense to me. I got it now. And that part for me is where I think like geek culture, nerd culture has an opportunity to do something great, because a lot of times you can teach people through a narrative and an example that allows them to be able to see it without the angst of, are they talking about me? Right. And to have that dialogue with people in a way where it's like, oh, okay. Oh, I can see that. By putting it on like a villain, or putting it on like a superhero, or putting it on some fictitious character, it provides that kind of psychological safety that, okay, they're not talking about me at this point. They're talking about this situation. And then as I read the situation, I get it, right? And so that's the one thing with like nerd culture and geek culture. And one of the things I actually absolutely love, because again, I've written in other environments. You don't get this license. You don't get this free license to be able to really be able to do some things that write an academic journal, couldn't do this, couldn't engage this way. But it gives an opportunity for that dialogue that, again, you don't have.
Ooh, I muted myself. That's awesome. I'm happy that you were able to get so much out of just becoming a nerd in such a short amount of time. I do want to ask everyone this question. I do kind of want to ask this because a lot of you have a lot of your answers have been kind of hinting at this, so we might as well just talk about it, get the rip the band-aid off, if you may say. As a Black man, all of you are Black men, you're raising Black children, Black boys, Black girls. We as Black men in this country, especially in the father department, for no reason, none of our own reasons or whatever, or anything that we have done, but have a bad rap of fatherhood, of being a father in this country, raising children, things of that nature. So I want to just raise this talking point to the panel. Being a Black father, the stereotypes of the Black man not being around, not being able to provide for his family, all those things, versus the fact that all of you are present fathers, raising the next generation. What generational curses and what stereotypes are each of you trying to break within your own families to get this rhetoric out of the dialect or the mindset of today's America. That makes sense. Dr. Washington, why don't you go for it?
Okay, so for me, I was very intentional about fatherhood, super intentional, because of the stereotypes, because of some of the things I was raised with. And again, I'm being completely transparent because maybe somebody needs to hear this so they can make the next generation work out for them. My dad was not there for me. The concept of calling out to my father, like, "Dad, help me," that was foreign to me because he was never there. I did not have my father in my life, right? So one of the things I made a decision about as a young man when I was going through was I'm going to do a couple of things a little differently so that the next person that comes by and that the next person that comes in, they're not going to have this issue, right? They're not going to have this issue. So one of the things I did, I became extremely intentional about fatherhood, family engagements, everything. So I set out a set of rules for myself as a man moving forward to how I was going to operate. I'm going to be married to the same woman I had these kids with. Get out of job one. Let's get that out the way. We're going to be married. Before we have these kids, we're going to have a setup and a lifestyle that allows those children to flourish. We're going to give them an environment where they can be safe, they can grow up happy, and they can grow up whole. And so one of the things that I ended up doing, I focused on that, getting into it. I can say, I'm very happy to be able to say this. Some of y'all, you're getting in there, you're getting up to those years, which is awesome. I've been married now for 28 years, right? 28 years. In August will be 28 years of rolling this forward. One of the things I wanted to do with my wife is I wanted my children to know my name, be there with their father, know his presence, know his protection, know what that feels like. And I can safely say that has all happened. But that was really an issue about intentionality. But here's a bit of a thing with the fatherhood thing among Black fathers. Though the marketing says that Black fathers are not present, the research doesn't bear that out. Black fathers show up more frequently in their lives of their children. It's just that this narrative is sensationalized, and it's something that draws eyeballs to it. Because if you look at most of the research around Black fathers and Black fatherhood, Black fathers show up a lot in their children's lives, and Black fathers do a lot of things in their lives. Yes, we do have Black fathers that negate their responsibility and they take a left. But we also have an overwhelming amount of Black fathers that show up for their children, that are there for their children, that make sure that their children are attended to, that are in the home with their children, that give their children baths, that feed their children. I remember when I was going through all this, when we brought the children into this world, I said, I'm going to feed them. I'm going to change them. I'm going to be here with them. I made an intentional decision to say we were going to do this as fathers because I did not want to be a couple things. This is another part. I didn't want to be a person that just provided a paycheck and didn't do anything with them kids. It was, for me, an issue of intentionality to make sure that we go in place. But I do believe sometimes within the course of the media, because that's what grabs eyeballs, it's advantageous to keep that narrative alive that Black fathers are deadbeats. Because again, it helps to move a narrative forward that is not necessarily the reality. Because one of the things most of the people in my circle and network, like most of these, like all of you brothers on this call right now, y'all are present. You there. You with the child, you with the wife, you with everybody here. How can that be? Right? Because again, if you let the media tell us, none of us on this call would have made that outcome. But here you have four or five Black fathers that are now in play, and all of them are active in their lives, right? And we all come from different walks of life. So for me, it was an issue of intentionality. That was one of my biggest things. Be intentional about fatherhood. Be intentional about being a husband, because again, you and your wife. Again, this is just a little my kind of philosophy on it. Y'all are a team, right? You're a team. We are working together to try to raise that next generation of individuals that are coming forward. And so my wife and I, we work as a team, as a cooperative to get those children where they need to go. Because here's the thing. I agree. I forget who said it, and please forgive me for this because I wanted to make sure to give you the credit on this. I think it was Husky. I think you said this, Husky. I do want them to be greater than me. I do want them to be greater than me. I want you to stand miles above me. I want you to go do something awesome in this world. But I got to set the stage so that I can take so that can take place. I don't want to be the final end. I want to be a line. I want a succession of greatness that comes along behind me. I want you to, we tell our kids this all the time. We expect you to take care of the third. What that means is I couldn't help myself, y'all. So please forgive me on this. With that first son of mine, I couldn't help myself but to name him David because that's my first one. I had to get that branded. That's me. I had to get that in place. So had that going. Had to get. Okay. I'm not alone. Okay. So when that happened, one of the things we've been telling our oldest son is we expect you to make the third's life better. We expect that of you, right? And it's the expectation that allows for that child to grow in there, and with the support to make it happen. And so we've been really, I've been intentional about fatherhood. My wife and I have been intentional about parenting. We've been intentional about our partnership because we want those children to grow into great human beings. And so, yeah, that's been my take on it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. S.Ceezy, why don't you go ahead and take the question next?
I just need help. Can you tell me what was the question again?
The question is, as a Black father, how are you breaking stereotypes and generational curses within your own family?
Well, basically, one of the main stereotypes that we've had, or at least in my family, is that there have been either fathers who were wishy-washy, which was like they were there, they weren't there, and then there are those that were in my family that weren't there at all. Like they literally have left the moms high and dry. And I've seen more than enough, more than my fair share of that happening both in my family and in my community. So, me being me, I pretty much made it a vow to be there for my children. I don't care what it is, what it takes, or what needs to happen. If I need to take time off in that retrospect so that I may be able to be there and be attentive, because it really bothered me a lot when I had my first kid, which my first kid was Kiara. She's 11. She'll be turning 11 in July. And it bothered me a lot that during her time as a baby, I was in the service. And during that time period, they had us going out to the field a lot. We usually did a lot of training rotations. So I was gone for weeks to months at a time, depending on what we were doing. And I was active duty in the Army. So I pretty much got to a certain point where I was like, I'm away from home a lot more than I would prefer to be. And I'm missing a lot of her milestones as she's getting older. So pretty much once she got toward the age, I want to say 6. No. She was about 5. Yeah, she was about 6 years old when I said, I'm pretty much getting out of the military so that I can be an attentive father, so that I could be there to showcase what it means to have a responsible male in your life, a father figure, someone who's supposed to be there, someone you could actually call dad. This is my dad. Like, you'll hear a lot of people be like, that's my father, which is a form of respect. But when you hear from certain people, it's like, okay, you know this person, but you know of this person, but you don't know this person. And my goal is to have my children actually know me instead of knowing of me. I guess if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense actually. Husky, Smoove, any of y'all want to answer the question before we move on to the next one?
I'll go after Smoove. You go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, so a couple of main points. One, I wanted to show up better as a father to the kids in the sense of like, there's the concept of the household burden, right? A lot of us men are like just so behind with that, and a lot of it isn't our fault, but it is our responsibility to make up that ground. We weren't taught to, you get those questions where like, hey dads, when's your kid's next doctor's appointment? What's their teacher's name? Like, what are their favorite foods? Like, what all that kind of stuff. We could go down the list of all the things that fathers typically don't know, and it's like all that stuff is on the mom. You got dads who, if the mom go out of town, she got to give him a whole list of stuff to do right and to make sure that stuff happens. Like, and I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because I want to make sure my kids see something different, right? My wife can go out of town and she can come back and the house won't be a mess. The house won't be burned down. The kids won't have had to go to the hospital or something, right? She can trust that that's gonna happen. If she goes away for a week, actually, a year ago, last Juneteenth, she went to Kenya for like over a week, and she knew she could do that and not worry about what was happening at home, right? So I want the kids to see that dad isn't just a paycheck coming home. That dad doesn't just go to work, come home, and then just don't do shit, right? And I had to work at it. Like I had that mentality in my head, but it was like I didn't know just how much I needed. Like I didn't know how bad the imbalance was, and I'm still working on balancing that out. Like now, it's going well, a little bit too well, even to the point where my daughter, I had to sit her down and let her know that mommy does a lot. She was like, "Mommy, doesn't Daddy need a break? Daddy does all of this. Daddy does all of that." And she said it with this kind of energy that kind of implied that mommy wasn't doing shit. And we had to set it straight, like, no, there's still so much that your mother does that you don't see. There's still stuff that I'm catching up on. It wasn't always like this. Daddy had to learn. Daddy had to grow in these areas. You're seeing not the finished product because I'm still not a finished product, but you're seeing the growth. You're not seeing where I grew from, right? So me doing your bath time every night, me taking y'all to school every day, me cooking maybe about 25% of the time. My wife is just better cooking than I am. So we know who has the strengths there, and in some other areas too. They're like, hey, what you're seeing right now, mommy saw the bad version of that. So I need you to understand, daddy, yes, daddy deserves a break. Mommy does too, and daddy's working to make sure mommy has a break so she don't lose her mind. So I want the kids to see that. I want my son to see that no, men don't just do the physical stuff. Men do need to wash clothes, do the dishes, all the other stuff in the house that a regular adult should do, not because of any gender role. So wanted to break that generational curse. Also, both my wife and I are like, hey, we don't want to be the reason either of our kids have to go to therapy. We want to break all the curses and this is no shade to my parents. They did the best that they could do, and we doing the best that we could do. We gonna make some mistakes. We just trying to make sure our kids have a better launching point. We apologize to our kids. We give our kids space to all the stuff that our parents' generation would call back talk when it really was just responding. We want to give them space for that. You can express yourself in a respectful way, whereas our parents said any kind of expression was disrespectful. I could keep going on and on. I ain't gonna go down the list, but like that's the kind of stuff we want to give to our kids. We want to make sure that they are emotionally well. We want to make sure that they see that their parents is human. We want to see that they can be held accountable. Like I tell my kids when I fuck up, and I apologize to them, and every single time they just come and give me a hug, and I'm like, I don't deserve y'all. I appreciate y'all understanding. That we have our moments, but I'm like, I'm losing my thoughts at this moment. But y'all get the point. That's the kind of stuff we try to break in this house.
Gotcha. Husky, anything you want to add?
Like Smoove and the other gentlemen were saying, just make sure I was being present. Now, my mother and my father were not together, but like my dad was there. He would show up. While I am named after my father, I don't have his full name, so like I don't have his middle name, which is crazy. Like his middle name is something else, so I have a different middle name. But my son, my oldest, like Dr. Washington was saying, like he's the second. My son is the second. My wife, we compromised. I wanted the junior. She was like, I don't want to do no junior. I said, well, we'll compromise. We'll come with the second. So my oldest is the second. So we went with that. But like everyone else, man, I was raised pretty much single parent home. Like I said, once again, not my mother and my father weren't together, so he wasn't in the house with me. But I knew who my father was. We spent time. Like I love my dad to this day. That's my guy. And I tell my kids all the time, like he'll be over here and they'll be jumping him. Hey, get off my daddy, man. What's wrong with you? Be jumping on my daddy. You too big to be jumping on my daddy. I mean, I mess with him, but also I give a huge shout out to my uncles as well. Now, although my mom and my father weren't together, I had a good example of men that were married or in relationships or with one woman, or I got to see a lot of that. Whether it was, whether other stuff was going on, but I got to see up front, like I got to see my uncle and aunts together, and that's kind of how I wanted to be. I wanted to, I got to see my uncle who has my cousins. He has 3 daughters. I saw my uncle sit and braid hair and do all the stuff with his little girls. My other uncle who stayed in Atlanta, I spent a lot of summers in Atlanta with my uncle and my aunt there, just because, they didn't have kids. So he would come get me and I would spend summers with him, and I would, see how they would act, how they interact. Like, I love their relationship. They go, like, you would think they'll be arguing, and they're not arguing. That's how they talk. It is so funny. I took when I was in Atlanta for MomoCon, I took one of my cousins by there, and it was his first time meeting him, and he was just, they were talking about something, and I was telling him, I said that's how they talk. They're not arguing or anything. He was like, oh, I said, it was just funny. But I like I said, I was intentionally making sure I wanted to make sure that I was present in my kids' lives. When my kids were born, thankfully I was able to take off some time. Past few times I've been able to take off a little bit more time, but I give baths. I'm the one that gives the baths. Thankfully, my mother growing up, like I said, in the house with my mom, she made sure if stuff go get done, so I know how to wash clothes. I'm showing my kids how to wash clothes. I know how to clean. I do that. I handle the dishes, stuff like that. It ain't just by taking the trash out. I do all the other stuff. I show them how to do the stuff. My wife would tell you, and I'll tell you, I'm the best cook in the house. So, and my wife will tell you that she'll tell you the same exact thing. But my wife is an amazing cook as well. She does, we take turns sometimes with me because I have a lot of other stuff on my plate. So, like you guys said, although the media will spin a tale where we're not present, that is a complete and utter lie. I've seen it myself. And like I'm a coach. I coach my kids. Like my kids have been playing from soccer to basketball to football. I've been in there every step. I train my kids as well. I do all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, I want my kids to be greater than me, better than me. I do my best. Like, wow, and I was Smoove was saying, he tries to create a space, and I do apologize when I am wrong. I apologize. Now I make my mistakes. I tell my kids all the time, like just like you been here 11 years, I've been a father for 11 years. I'm still learning. We working together. We growing together. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? I mess up. And granted, if y'all need to go to therapy, by all means, you go to therapy. You come back and tell me I did something wrong. I'm going to apologize, and we, figure out what we need to do to fix it, so we can move forward, because my kids are my world. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm the tough guy. I am the disciplinarian. I'm that, but I'm also, like I said, I'm the one that, hey, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Especially like, because they tell me all the time, like when I say I'm the disciplinarian for my house and my sister's house. When something go wrong, I'm gonna call your uncle. Like, cause everybody knows, like, listen, hey, if I gotta get involved, you done did something wrong. So, but like it says, my oldest nephew, one of my older nephews, I have him, like, hey, who's going? Hey, didn't I tell you? I want, this all. Hey, what we talked about? Yes, sir. All right. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's the same thing with mine. Like they understand. We if I don't just, I do my best not to just, if I gotta get loud, you know what I'm saying? It's not because it's not my first reaction. It's because we done had conversations. We done talked about this. We done went over. Hey, then we had this conversation before. Now I gotta escalate and elevate my voice a little bit more because you decided not to listen or you won't do, you know. So but I do my best because one of the best things, or one of the best things, like I said, outside of being a husband, like Dr. Washington was saying, like we're a team. I made sure my boys know that, my wife knows that we are a team first and foremost. Because when these kids leave, it's gonna be just me and you. That at the end of the day, when these kids get old and they grow up and they move out, they get their lives and their wives and husbands, whatever. At the end of the day, it's gonna be me and you. So I try to make sure my wife knows that, she understands that, you know, we together, we realize, hey, it's us, it's me and you at the end of the day. And I as raising men, as raising boys, I do my best to make sure they see how I treat their mother. I don't get loud. Like I may get, so I'm loud. I'm a boisterous guy. I'm a big guy, so I tend to get loud, not on purpose, but just that's cause who I am, and or how it comes out sometimes. And like my voice will go up, and my wife, don't yell at me. I'm not yelling at you, but my kids is right there. They'll come in the room and they'll come look, or they'll come where we at, but like I'm not yelling, but I love them. I told them, you take care of your mom. You know what I'm saying? You that's first and foremost. You take care of your mom. You don't mistreat your mother. So I want them to see that. So when they go to grow up and have wives or whatever the case may be, that they see how to treat their spouse. They see how to treat the person they love. Like it's okay. Like I say, you know, every day I may have issues with your mom where we don't like each other for that moment, but it's not one day, one moment, 1 second of this life that goes by that I don't love your mother, and that I don't show how much I love your mom. Same and vice versa. But I do my best to lead by example. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I have my faults, I have my failures, and I'm still growing, I'm still learning. But for my kids, I just hope I set a good example, and I do my best to lead and show them the right way to do things. And I do my best to talk to them. Like I said, there's another way, you know, like I think I can't remember who said it. I'm not sure if it was Smoove or Dr. Washington was saying about how back in the day, you talking back, you talking back, and I had a little of that mindset. I had to reset, like, all right, you know, you're not talking. If you responding, okay, what did you say? Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what you said so we can figure it out, or whatever the case may be. But like, I don't just immediately be like, hey, no talking back. Now it is certain instances. If Vanna said something, you trying to, I don't want to hit it. We done already, you know, so that's a little different. But I give my kids an opportunity to respond, give my kids an opportunity to talk, to, you know, give me an explanation. Because if you're doing something, if you done did something and we done went over, so then we talk about this. Can you tell me why you did what I didn't, you know? So I try to break that where it's not an immediately, hey, hush. Like it's not an immediate, don't talk back, you know, it's not that. I give them a space to communicate, because I know, like with my oldest, my middle one, he was born during the COVID time. And for the longest of time, he is not the most vocal, he talks, but he's not the most vocal, he doesn't verbalize all the time. So I've been I made a conscious effort to get him to be more vocal, especially when you're talking to an adult, when you're talking to just talking to anybody, because when he talks to his friends, he's loud. He you'll hear him in like 2-3 rooms over. Then they're playing a game. Oh, what? Like you're the loudest person in the house. But if I'm talking to you and have a conversation, no, I can't hear you. I need you to open your mouth, make eye contact, look at me, and tell me what you're saying. I need you to talk. So I do little stuff, try to break, because I know how they can, because I was like that growing up. I wasn't the most, when it came to talking to an adult, I was looking down or didn't have the confidence. I'll do my best to break that curse. Just other little things, but it's a everyday thing. Just trying to do your best to raise these kids to be, like you said, to be good human beings, to be kind, and just be good people at the end of the day.
Awesome. Wow, everybody gave such great uh, wisdom and just feedback and advice from just that one question. But I do have a couple of follow up questions I would like to ask everybody. But we are nearing the end of the show, so please be mindful of give a lightning round answer in your response for these next couple of questions. But my first question is for the girl dad. Over the weekend, there was an incident at QT in some random state where big and bold and entitled man uh, came in the women's restroom and interrupted a father who was there
Mm.
with his two daughters, two very young daughters. He did everything right, knocked on the door, made sure nobody else was in there, so they can go and use the restroom. My question to the girl dads is this something that not only that you've had to deal with or currently deal with, but what is the proper etiquette or protocol for a situation like this? How do you handle yourself in that type of situation?
I would say you really can't win. So do what is comfortable for you and yours. So I'll tell you what I do. So both my parents were present, but my dad was deployed for a good little bit. He was over in Korea for a while. So my mom would always take me with her into the ladies' bathroom. Like what you expect her to do, right? So and I don't remember any problems happening. So when it came time for me, my oldest is a girl. So there'd be times where it'd be me and her. My wife would be at work or wherever she was. And I just instinctively did what my mom did. I would take her into the men's bathroom with me. If I stay off the internet, I never would think that was a problem, and it's never been a problem. I wish a ninja would. I wish somebody would say some shit. But apparently, according to the internet, it's not safe to take your daughter into the men's bathroom with you. It's not clean to do it. Now, I tell both my kids, don't touch nothing in the bathroom. Don't touch nothing, you know. But I'm 43 years old. Okay, preface on this. A lot of people are afraid of the kids, especially the girls, seeing a man's junk in the bathroom, right? I'm 43 years old. I don't need all these fingers to count how many times I've accidentally seen another man's junk in a public bathroom. So we just didn't. That y'all might have a different experience than me, but that's just how it's meant for me. I don't accidentally see anybody's junk in the bathroom, and so basically, I'm like, you know what? They're gonna be with me. We're gonna wait until a stall is clear, and we're gonna go in there together. And now her brother too. So all three of us, we go in. We find the biggest stall we can. We wait till it's empty. We go in there. As long as it ain't just straight up filthy nasty, we do what we got to do. I put the toilet paper down for her. We work it out. And every time I've been in there, every dad that has been, every man that's been in there, they're always respectful. They never give us any problems. I see other girl dads in there too, and we always kind of give that look of, yeah, we know what's going on. So somebody might have a problem with that. Somebody obviously had a problem with the young man who took his daughters into that bathroom. There's somebody who said, oh, well, why don't you just have a woman take your daughters in there with you? Somebody could then say, oh, how are you as a man, why are you putting the burden of your daughters on some woman you don't know? So you're going to have somebody say something either way. So at the end of the day, as long as you're making sure that you are being safe and you being careful, do what you feel is best.
I
Um,
agree. Yeah, I agree. It's like you gotta, because there's always going to be someone that comes out with a negative
Well,
outcome.
I'd
Yeah.
say definitely I would agree with everything that he said in that retrospect. Like there have been times where my wife has not been either around to be able to take them, or she may have been at work or something like
Yeah.
that. We're in a public space, and my daughter's been like, "Hey, Dad, I got to use the bathroom." So me being the dad that I am, I'm protective of mine. So what I would do is I would walk them to the bathroom. Same thing. I'd walk them to the male's bathroom, wait till a stall is open, make sure it's clean, let them go in by themselves, and I would be the security guy standing in front of the door, making sure that nobody goes in and bothers them. They're old enough now to where they can handle themselves in the bathroom, so once they're done, they'll come out and be like, "All done, Daddy," and be like, "All right, we're gonna go wash our hands and we're gonna leave."
Yeah.
So pretty much yeah, just a caveat: do what works for you and yours. Don't worry about the internet because the internet's gonna talk about you whether you're doing good, bad, or anything.
Dr. Dave Washington.
Yeah, I agree and concur. At the end of the day, you got to do what works. That's one of the key things is that you kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So anyway, there's going to be somebody that's going to have something to say. So mine has always been issue of security. What is the safest position for this child to be in, for this girl to be in? So that's where I've always landed with mine. The safest is wherever I am. Okay, that's where that falls. So and at the end of the day, someone's going to say, well, that's not the way you should. Well, look, with your kids, you can do that. Okay, do that with your kids.
Right.
For me and mine, this is the way we're going to go. And one of the things I was fortunate about a lot of times with particularly with my girl, I was very fortunate that in a lot of cases, the environments we were in, I controlled those environments. Like my building, like we're in my building, right? So I could say like, here you go, baby girl, take this key to this private bathroom, go right over here, right? And in that rare instance where I don't control the entire environment, it would be like, okay, we're going to go over here and do what is best. Because ultimately, and I agree, I am very protective of them kids. Like, I don't want something to go south with them children. So I want to put them in the best position where they're safe. So safety first, make sure they feel okay and they're good to go, then I'm good.
Perfect. Husky, I just gotta ask you, since you're the only one with the newborn of the bunch, especially with it being a girl, what has this 2 weeks experience been like of just having a girl versus a bunch of boys? And what are you gonna do differently with your daughter that you may not do with your sons per se?
It's been pretty interesting so far. My wife will tell you, I always give. So I give all the kids nicknames. Now, whether anybody else uses them, I don't care. But it's gonna be everybody has a nickname for me, and that includes my nieces and nephews as well. Like and like my youngest nephew, his nickname is Buddha. Like nobody else can call him that but me. So if I call him, he go come in, hey uncle, what's up, Buddha? And so I've been, it took me a day or so to get her a nickname, and I was like, I just went along. I call my wife Sweet. My daughter, I started calling her Sugar. That's my sugar. So, but as far as just growing, I don't know, because like everybody's told me, once you have a girl, man, you're gonna become soft in the middle. You're gonna become tissue. So I was like, I've been trying to. I've been trying to. I don't know yet. It hasn't come to anything as of yet. But I don't know. So like with my boys, I am a little bit more. Of course, I'm rough. Rougher with them, a little bit more tougher, a little bit more stern when it comes to certain things with them. So I'm gonna see how that holds up when she gets a little older and she can talk and all the other stuff and all the things, and see how stern I can be when it comes to her. So hopefully I can still hold that ground that I have. But
you gonna melt, but
that's what everybody tells me. But we go. Hopefully we can still hold a little ground, because like I said, at the end of the day, my wife is my tag team partner. So but yeah, that's it. And as far as the situation, I saw the situation. And matter of fact, it was maybe like 30 to 50 miles away from where I stayed. It was like Pell City, I think, Alabama. And mind you, none of the people were from Alabama, but I seen the situation. And like everyone else said, do what works best for you. If you can take her into the male restroom and don't have any issues, by all means do it. As long as that child is safe and feels safe. But if you can't, and there's no one in the women's restroom, or they only have a urinal, and girls can't use the urinal, so if there's that's the only option, take her. And if there's no other woman in there, take in the woman's restroom, do what you got to do. Do what works best for you, as long as your child feels safe and everything like that. Because I think at the end of the day, in that situation, the police got called. Police came and told the guy that called, that wanted him to call the police, he was an idiot. And and to go on about their business or whatever the case may be. But yeah.
Perfect. My last question for the four of y'all. Gentle parenting versus the concept of sparing the rod, spoil the child, versus how a lot of us was raised. What is your parental approach to discipline and structure within your household? Do you spank? Are you a spanker? Is that something you believe in? Do you believe in the gentle parenting, the new trend within parents where kids have rights and you can talk about everything and discuss everything? There will be no timeouts and everyone's a free spirit. Whatever gentle parenting is in your mind, what is each of yours thoughts and opinion on the subject matter?
So I don't know. I remember how it was when I was younger coming up, that the whole thing was literally spare the rod, spoil the child. So for anything that you did whatsoever, if it was negative, anything, or at least what they thought was negative, here comes the belt, switch, whatever it was that they could get their hands on at that time to get through to you, that what you did was jacked up and they saw it. So there was no room for discussion on how to get better or be better. It was, you wrong, I'm gonna get you. And I guess my kids, the way that I approach it when it comes to mine, because I know how I came up in that era. Now, I learned a lot, and I also wanted to do better from how I was raised in that retrospect. I talk to my kids before so that they understand what it is that they did wrong and why they're getting punished for it. So that way there leaves no wondering. And I'm pretty sure in the child's mind at that time, they're like, dang, I wish you would just get it over with. But once they get older, they'll realize that it makes sense that he doesn't like doing this as much as you would think, or you at all, if for that matter. Like, he doesn't like doing this at all. It's something he has to do to get you to understand that where you messed up is where you messed up. So my kids probably think I talk to them to death before I get to the punishment, because in their mind they're like, just get it over with. But when I know that once they get older, they'll appreciate figuring out where it is that they led wrong in that situation and be better people for it. So I open up that dialogue, at least for that little bit. I know what's going on. I know what happened, but I want to know your reasoning behind why you did what you did. Yeah. And that's pretty much where we'll have that caveat, and that's pretty much what's done. So I believe it's a healthy mix of, it's not just gentle parenting, it's not just spare the rod, spoil the child, but it's how you approach each situation, as long as the punishment has to fit the crime, if that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead, Smoove.
I like to call what I do respectful parenting as opposed to gentle parenting. It's really the same thing, but I make that distinction not because they're different, but because so many people out there have this incorrect idea of what gentle parenting is. They hear that you gentle parent or that you don't spank your child, and they automatically make this Super Mario Brothers chasm jump all the way to this other conclusion, that you don't discipline your kids at all, that you let your kids run on over them, that you negotiate. Not what that is. Like, being respectful, like, your kids are whole ass human beings who have feelings and deserve respect just like we do. I never forget one of my coworkers, been a dad a little bit longer than I have. Something he said to me always stuck with me. He said, I don't say anything to my kids that I wouldn't say to another grown adult. Like, why does some grown adult that don't know you get more respect than your child who came from you? So, like, why am I do I still have to reel my temper in sometimes? Yes. None of y'all, Mark, you've never heard me yell. You've always known me to be a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
That change sometimes when the kids don't be listening. So, I mean, I've spanked my daughter twice, and it has not happened in 7 years. Like, I won't go into the details of how it happened. Like if we had time, I would, just to show just how much I believe in not doing it anymore. But like, yeah, I'm not trying to do it. Like, if any of us got into an argument right now and one of us tried to like lay hand, it doesn't work. Like none of us is going to hit somebody unless we expect the fight to happen. Like that's just not how that works. So why am I doing that to my kids? I remember, who was it? Shout out to Dr. Raquel Martin on Instagram. Something she said once about spanking. I was already on board with this by this point, but it just even sealed the deal further. Anytime you spank your kids, that's your own lack of self-regulation. I'm not saying that to shame any parents, because I have spanked my kids before. I'm not, if you still spank your kids, I'm not trying to tell you not to. I'm not trying to like shame you. I just want you to think like that's you and your own lack of self-regulation when you hit your kids. You not being able to find some other way to drive the point home. Like I remember, I'm quoting a whole bunch of people. Kev on stage once said, like, how am I going to teach my kid not to hit by hitting them? When you really sit down and think about that, what sense does that make? None at all. So like, and I'm not saying it's easy. It definitely ain't easy. There are times where I want to. I don't come close anymore, but there are times where in my head I'm like, man, do I want to let the old stereotypical traditional black dad out right now? I do. And I still have to reel that in with my voice. Being a respectful parent isn't just not hitting your kids. It's so much more than that. And that's the part I'm still working on. So don't none of y'all out there hear me and think I got all the answers, that I'm a perfect parent. I still got work to do, but I know what the goal is. I want my kids to still have a relationship with me when I get older. We grew up in the I'm your dad, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent, right? Both of my kids, unprompted on their own, have said to me at different points, Daddy, you're my best friend. And I don't take that shit lightly at all, lightly rather. And my response to both of them was, I'm your friend, but I'm your parent first. Because I want that relationship with them, but I also need them to know that I am going to have to be daddy at some point. And I need you to understand that. But also, I'm like, I want you to be able to. So many of our parents say, "Oh, well, why doesn't my kid talk to me anymore? Why don't they come to me?" Do you really have to wonder why we don't come to you? And I don't want to be in that position with them either. Like I want them to know, hey, dang, I messed up. I need to call daddy. Not, dang, I messed up. I need to hide this from daddy. If we don't give them that space to be honest, to express themselves, they're not going to want to do that. They're not going to feel safe to do that with us now or in the future.
That was actually really deep. I wish we had more time to get into that. But Dr. David Washington, why don't you go ahead?
I'm a mixed method. When I started out, it was mixed method. And again, my parenting has evolved with the age of those kids, because it's going to have to. And one of the things that kind of helped me was I really did have to analyze each one of my children to find out what was the best method of approach with them. Because here's the thing, each child has a different disposition, and what will work with one will not work with the other one. And I had to like literally figure out for each one of them what was the thing that worked for them. And like with my oldest, it was like, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Giving him the intellectual argument of, hey, bro, that ain't gonna work out for you financially, or that could be a problem later on. Got it. My youngest one was always the issue around an emotional appeal. So I had to be mindful about like what were the emotions and the feelings and the things that led into an engagement, because that was one of his things. My daughter, that child had been here before. So there were sometimes I didn't even have to explain some things. I'd be like, hey, it'd be like, don't play in traffic. She'd be like, it's traffic. Why would I play in it? So, like it was, for her, it was, what I'm saying? This child had been here before. So there were some, I had some moments there. But I really had to, and again, and this is the thing that we as Black fathers are always having to be mindful of. Like, how do we want our children to see us, and how do we want them to engage with us? So I had to do mixed method. There was times where I had to be very hard, very stern. There are other times where I had to engage more of that kind of, almost therapist engagement with them to sit down and just kind of work and triage through the issues. And by the way, did not get this perfect by any long shot, right? Had some successes, but nothing where it's perfection I can. But the thing was, it was a constant trying of finding out what was the best way to get it done, because ultimately when you're looking at it, you're trying to do the best for your child. And I gotta say, and to all you brothers as well, I know with your spouses and everything else, I thank God for the woman I'm raising these kids with, because it was good that we were coming from a good space in the same place, because we were able to tag out when necessary. There were times where she was like, I just need that firm hand, and that's you, and I need you to walk that. And I'm like, oh, I got that. Tag. Oh, I got that. Here comes the hammer. I got this. But then there were times where it was like we had to take a different approach, and it was like, hey, we need that gentle giant kind of engagement, or we need that softness from mama to kind of help them move forward. And I thank God that I had that. And I say this all the time, I often say this, I've been blessed with a good partner that we were able to work it in a good way with our kids, right? I was blessed with a good partner. And it sounds like from all y'all on the call, y'all have been blessed with good partners. So good on that one. And let me give you a little sidebar note here. You make sure, and all y'all can say this too for your spouses as well, you make sure if y'all are ever watching this podcast and you come across my wife, I said all those good things on tape. Make sure you tell her I said all those good things on tape. I'm trying to get some more years on the board, so you make sure you tell her. But I'm trying to make sure. Okay, I'm trying to stay in this. I want to be old and on the porch with this woman. But that was really like mixed methods. We had to, each child required something different at a different time, and the thing that allowed us to be able to engage with them was we were able to make that adjustment, because for most of us, we were kind of raised to, the ride, the ride and the ride and nothing else. But again, with these kids now, you have to figure out like where they are, like how does it set up in their environment, and you have to really think about it a little bit more deeply than just let me go to the ride. Because again, that was where I was raised. I'm from deep south, and that's kind of how I started out. But I said, hey, I got to deviate, because to get them to successful adulthood, it's going to take a few more things, right? It's going to take a little bit more where you're going to have to teach them, talk to them, help them analyze why their decision making was bad. Like, hey, why was that a bad decision? Let's work that part, because then when you're not standing there anymore with them, they can be like, oh, wait, no, I'm not going to do that, because that is a bad decision. They can identify it. They're like, oh, these are the components that make them a bad decision. And guess what? Because my mom, my dad, they showed me how to start thinking about this. Now they independent people. So that's my 2 cents.
That's awesome. Again, I'm sure if your wife ever watched this, she's gonna be combing through everything and just making sure you said all the right things that you needed to say. And that goes for all of y'all. I'm sure all of y'all wives are gonna be watching this like, what did he say about me? But Husky, what about you? What do you what are your thoughts and your approach to disciplining when it comes to parenting your children?
What did Ceezy tell Hoppo? Beat her. No, I'm playing. Listen, I am it's a mixed bag, man. And I do believe like you, with me having so far 3 boys, then just with them having to figure out what works for them. Like my oldest, I know I don't necessarily have to swing the rod with him. I know I don't have to. He can get it. I know ways to get to him without having to actually, do it, anything like that. We'll talk, we have conversations. I try to get him to explain to me what was, like I said, Dr. Washington was saying about what was your line of thinking of doing this. Now that middle one, listen. What was the Kobe theme he had with them shoes? Same animal, different beast, whatever it was. Like different beast, same man. Complete
child.
Like it's I have to look at him like where are you?
Is a thing to the middle child, because I was born as a middle child, so we'll touch on that one. We'll have I try the conversation route, try doing this, try taking stuff away, and it's like, what are we?
And then sometimes I do have to go there. I do have to get the ride, but it's usually and I'm that's usually the very last step for me, especially now. Like I don't that's not the first thing. Like if I do it, it's you've done something you shouldn't have done, something we've talked about, and it's went from like you went here with it. You know what I'm saying? Like you you done crossed the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want a nigga here now. Like that, like you've done something like, hey man, like what? Something that clearly makes me think you were not thinking about what you did. And then once again, and if it is, then usually it's like 2 or 3 pops and I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not just gonna sit here and just like that, you know what I'm saying? So my youngest, him, he is, I can look at him. I can threaten. He go freeze in place. He know when he's in trouble. Hey, come here. That's all I gotta say. Every now and again, may a pop, just a little pop on the bottom, get him going. But I don't, and as a father, as someone who's like I said, I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it. Like and like I said, that's what I tell them all the time. If I have to get there, you've done something obviously wrong and you've disappointed me. Like it's something that if I have to go there, you've done something you shouldn't have done. You've done something that was too far. You've took a misstep. And after we've done it, and after everything's been done, you've calmed down, you've got back to, well, hey, come here, let's talk. We had, and we're gonna have a conversation about why I had to whoop you. And I'm gonna ask you, do you understand why I had to do that? And so then next time, what can you do better so this does not happen again? Let's move to a resolution. Let's move to figure out why or what we can do so that this does not take place or this has to happen again. Because like I said, at the end of the day, I think it was Smoove or Doctor, one of them said it, but it was like, at the end of the day, I need you to be able to make decisions when I am not around. Because that's the end goal. I need for you to be able to be able to function, be able to make decisions, be able to be okay when I'm not around you, and be able to make not just regular decisions. I need you to be able to make smart decisions, because there's gonna be times where you're somewhere and somebody's about to do something dumb, and I need you to recognize that and identify that and be like, no. Whether you hear my voice in the back of your head, hey man, walk away, or whether you feel that sting, that muscle memory, oh, you know what, I don't need to do this, let me go. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, I need for you to do that, because as all of us are black fathers here, you raising a black child in this world, in this nation, in this time, one slip up, one mistake, you could be gone. We've seen it happen time and time again, and it's there. That's why it is like you have to balance that. Like, I don't want to be to the point where I'm so worried about that it's driving my anxiety, driving all my other stuff, and I'm putting all that on them. You know what I'm saying? So I have to make that balance. I have to, make sure they understand where, kind of where it's coming from, understand other stuff as well. So I do my best. Like I said, with my oldest, he's 11 now. We talk a little bit more. I explain stuff a little bit more to him. Like Juneteenth, we went to go get haircuts and everything, came back, and we were coming back home, and I was asking, I said, you know what the day is? And going through, talking about Juneteenth, because we're in a mixed neighborhood, a mixed area, and they go to school with mixed kids. Well, with different kind of other races of kids and things like that. And they have friends, and I was explaining, he's going to middle school. So I was explaining to him some stuff. You may see some friends that you were friends with. As you get older, they may change, stuff like that. And when there's nothing you did, just going over little stuff. We was discussing racism, stuff like that, just to make sure he understood some of the things at his age, because of where we stay at and what school he attends and things like that. And he's an amazing kid, man. And I don't deserve any of them. They all are amazing, and I'm thankful I have them. Like I tell somebody, anytime they go somewhere, it's always they acted so well. I didn't have any trouble about them. I tell them they don't act up with nobody else. They act up with us. They don't act up with nobody else. And I tell anybody that, but I got it. But yeah, that's it. It's my turn now. But so but yeah, but that's it, man. Just it's a mixed bag, and just figuring out what works for each different child, because like I said, all of them are different. All of them have something different personalities, and they all respond differently to the things. So yeah.
If I could piggyback off what you just said real quick, it is frustrating as hell when our kids go out. I mean, we do want them to go out into the world and act right, but when they act right out there and then they act the fool with us, it's frustrating. One thing I've learned though, that means we're doing a good job, not just raising them right, but because they feel safe at home.
Yeah,
they feel safe to like. I can't explain it well. I had it explained to me and it made sense. The words are failing me right now, but they feel safe at home. They feel safe to let out whatever it is that they can't let out outside. And just like, I don't really like this phrase, but I understand it. The phrase "be his peace." You can't be nobody else's peace but your own. But I think what people are really trying to say is be a safe space for that other person. And we should be that for our kids too.
Absolutely.
All the BS they get at school, they're gonna run into some. I know I've been cussing like a sailor today. They're gonna run into some asshole ass kids. They don't need to come home to asshole ass parents too. So it's like if they. So I would say take that as a not a badge of honor, but like take that as a comfort when your kids act the fool with us at home, because that means that we've given them the safe space to just be them.
Yeah.
Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this evening. This has been a very fascinating, very interesting discussion amongst the four of you fathers. I wish we had more time. There's so many other questions I would like to ask you all, but obviously I will have any of you back on to come on another day to be another guest, talk about different topics. But I will definitely do another Fathers in Nerdy Spaces. I actually did not think this would be as insightful as it was, but then I should have thought about it a little bit more. Again, thank every single one of you. Y'all have given me some advice. I'm not a father, but I aspire to become one day. One day is going to happen, and y'all have given me some words of wisdom. And I hope you've given my audience some words of wisdom to live by. Again, so many things that y'all have spoke about that I would love to get further into, but we just don't have the time tonight. But before we go, I'm gonna let each of you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on the internet and what your upcoming projects is, and where they can find any of your work. I'm gonna start with Dr. David Washington. Where can everybody find you on the internet, and where can everybody find your graphic novel?
All right. So you can find me on the internet at Washington Comics, and that's comix.com. I'm also on Instagram at Washington Comics as well. Something I never thought I'd say at 47. Follow me on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram at Washington Comics, and that's COMIX Comics. But you can get the book. The book is available at WashingtonComics.com. It's also available on Amazon.com. The next project, as I alluded to earlier today, will be an animated film that will be coming out on Juneteenth weekend in Atlanta. We will be in Atlanta for an entire week in the Regal Theater at Perimeter Point for the film Black Defender: The Awakening, the animated version.
Like this past Juneteenth or next year?
Next year, 2027.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will send you an email. We should definitely talk about that. Okay. S.Ceezy, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on the internet and what are your upcoming conventions and projects that you're working
on? Sure. You guys looking for me on YouTube? I'm under S.Ceezy. That's S-CEEZY. Instagram, pretty much it's the same name, but instead of a dash, it's a dot. S.CEEZY on IG. TikTok is S.Ceezy Madness or S.CEezy Madness. And I think that's pretty much it. Everything. So if you were to look me up on the internet, just type in S.Ceezy. You're bound to see one of my socials pop up.
All right, perfect. Husky, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on the internet? It looks like you holding the baby.
Yeah.
Very, very much so. Yes, you can find me everywhere at the Husky Hokage. I am on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Also, you can check out Victory Road AGP. It's Victory Road, a gaming podcast. That's the podcast that me and my shenanigans friendly type of cousin Dub that we host, where we talk and interview gamers and cosplayers and just people in this space, and give them a space and try to spotlight them to just show off and talk and tell people. Mark has been on there, man, and we always appreciate you. But yeah, I don't have anything big coming up. I know, like I said, right now I'm taking care of baby, so I do have some. I'm actually doing discussions on TikTok Live. Usually I'm doing about twice a day now, since I'm off. I have a little time while she's napping. I'll jump on live in the afternoons around between 12 and 1, and then in the evenings I'll jump on about anytime after 8. And I'll just have my panels like I said, I'm trying to build a community and give space, because it's a lot of I like to call them turd nuggets. It's what I like to call them. It's the nice way of putting it. You know what I'm saying? People just online, trying to diminish anything that's of color, basically, when it comes to the gaming space. Anything that has a black character, a black lead, it's always an issue where, oh, this game is woke, or this game is DEI, and all of that nonsense. And my job, and it's some others that I'm happy to call mutuals, are fighting back against that, fighting back against the nonsense, to make sure the gaming space, because I believe gaming is for everyone. Whether you play mobile games, whether you play cozy games, all you play is Madden every year, I look at you as a gamer. You know what I'm saying? And you should have a safe space to discuss or talk about whatever talk about your experience with the game or whatever, and not have to worry about hearing these idiots scream everything is woke or DEI because there's a black character in the game or something like that. So yeah, but like I said, Husky Hokage everywhere, and a Victory Road AGP everywhere as well.
All right, perfect. Smoove, go ahead.
All right, y'all can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Smoove Cosplaya, and also at M Abernathy VO. Also my website, myronabernathyvo.com. You can see all my past voiceover work there. No projects at the moment. Next big project will probably just be my yearly art project, which is my really long Dragon Con video every year. So yeah, that's it. So just out here cosplaying, out here trying to switch from IT to voiceover full time. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect. If I know you, I know you're going to be able to do that. Actually, that's going to be a future video. We should talk about that later. But again, thank you all for coming on to the show. Sorry about the audio issues we had at the beginning, but Blerdkast Live will be off the next 2 weeks, and we'll be back in the middle of July with Black and Gaming. It was an interview that was supposed to happen at MomoCon, but we're going to bring it to you in July, where we'll do it live with the BIG organizers. And oh my God, I'm blanking on her name. We'll be there. We'll have Big in Gaming in July, and then after that, bringing back one of my favorite topics, the business of cosplay photography, as we're all gearing up for Dragon Con 2026. I'm going to have on some special guests, and we're going to talk about how to or not to make money at a convention near you. So that's going to be fun. Until then, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to Moana Nui and Blerdkast, and don't forget to, for as low as $2 a month, you can become a channel member and help support the channel and all of our nerdy endeavors. Until then, see y'all next time.
Yeah. Yeah. it how you wind it up. We can jump into it, we can line it up. We can stay slow with you, me. We can stay slow with you, me. Yeah. Be somebody tonight, doing that dance, digging that dance. I know you can be somebody tonight. Be somebody tonight. Pull up on me. We've got so much to see. Maybe I can show you now. Lay your top with the top down. Baby, I don't wanna hit the friend zone.